Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 29th Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn. We are coming to you live from the media room at Yavapai College, and Yavapai College is one of our sponsors, along with Northern Arizona Healthcare, Goldenstein Gallery, the City of Sedona, and we'd like to thank them for being sponsors, along with all our hoteliers and restaurants in Sedona. And a man who has laughter in my heart, I'm going to introduce you to Nicholas. Nicholas, could you please introduce yourself and your film?
Well, thank you. I'm Nicholas Eliopoulos, the producer, editor, and the director of Celebrating Laughter, the life and films of Colin Higgins, who was a real funny man. And I'm very pleased to have done his life story and a lot of his films.
You know, it's interesting. I didn't even realize who he was. I knew of all of his films, and I probably have seen every single one of them. And I didn't really know the man behind it. So tell us a little bit about Colin.
Well, I met him at the American Film Institute, and I was very lucky to have also worked on all three films that he directed: Foul Play, 9 to 5, and Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And I worked some on Out on a Limb, the miniseries, his last work. And he was just an incredible human being. The film really shows that, and it took us a labor of love for many years to finish it, and we interviewed a lot of people, and I think people... Also, someone told me at the screening that they said, these are some of my favorite films, and I never knew it was the same filmmaker.
Yeah, I know. That was crazy. Like, when I was looking at that, and the guy just, I mean, I just loved seeing his interviews. I don't know where you captured those from, because that was some time ago. So
It was, and I was so happy to find that. The fellow that interviews him, he had done that. He had a show at One With, and I just recently found him in Santa Barbara, and he's 94 years old with beautiful gray hair, Keith Berwick, and if I hadn't had his interview, the film wouldn't be what it is today. He was great, very in-depth interview.
Yeah, some of the things and why he did some of the films, I think, was so interesting. And he was relatively shy, if
That's right.
yes.
Yeah.
Which he worked with some. I think I saw the scene with Dolly Parton, because she was dancing with him in one of the scenes, and he looked like really uncomfortable, but he was pretty shy. But he worked with some of the top actors and actresses in Hollywood.
He did. He was really funny on paper, but in person he was very shy. And even someone at the screening at the Performing Arts Center asked, what would he think of this film today? And his brother and sister-in-law said, well, he probably would just, be shy. It's really nice, not be so extroverted about it.
Oh my gosh, so how did this film fall into your hands?
It's very interesting. After he passed young of AIDS, and it was tragic, and some of us who knew him, we thought, well, I make films and do things, and I'm an editor mainly. So we decided to film this memorial service, and that was the first thing which ends the film. But it also was the first thing we filmed, and from there everything else sprung up, and somehow it just fell in my lap. It was like if I didn't make it, it would never get made.
Well, I also understand that you were called the Walt Disney of
9 to 5.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I supervised the 3-minute animated sequence in that movie, and Colin wrote me something and called me the Walt Disney of 9 to 5. But it took us about 9 or 10 months for a 3-minute sequence, and we hand painted 14,000 cells the old animation way. And that was lovely. I also did the sound editing on the movie, but that animated sequence was just a gem and memory for me.
Oh my gosh, I know. Could you imagine like having to do that and painting each celluloid, and then now like everything is all digital? So
Yeah,
it's crazy, right?
It's wonderful now.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, we had 3 animators. 2 of them worked for Disney, and we had a staff of like 15 people painting all day for 9 months for 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh, how long did the film take?
Which
Well, I'm sorry. I know we were talking
the
about 9 to 5. but yeah.
you're talking about the documentary.
Yes, I switched on
Do
you.
I
That
have to
was my
tell
fault.
you? It was only a quick 30-year production schedule.
30 years.
Well, I did another documentary earlier about Mary Pickford in the silent era, and that took me 15, and we called that a quickie. I'm embarrassed to say we didn't work on it every day. We would get some money, we would do interviews, things happen, life happened. And I told somebody at the screening I was going to give COVID the credit because we didn't have the lockdown. I may have never finished this film.
Oh my gosh. But you have some fabulous actresses and actors in the films. I know we have a small clip that I want to show first, and then I want to find out actually who else was in the film after we see this one person who I love.
Okay, let's do it.
Every time I watch Harold and Maude, which is my favorite movie, I honestly think I have like maybe 3 or 4 movies in the whole world that I love. That being one of them. I love the movie for what it is because I think it's spectacular, and I love Ruth and the young boy that played in that. It's just spectacular. But what I always think about is Colin being so young when he wrote that, and he was in college, and I think now, what was he thinking? Where was he in his life? And to think that someone could be that smart and that deep and that advanced and that good, back before they even started their real career. So and the fact that he picked all that wonderful music of Cat Stevens to be in Harold and Maude.
I remember Colin back in.
That was one of the things that surprised me because Cat Stevens, I loved Cat Stevens. I love Dolly Parton, but I love Cat Stevens. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is he doing now? Because, you don't hear about him anymore, really. But It was just so interesting that he played the music for that.
Yeah, we were so lucky to get him. We have a mutual heritage being Greek. His father was Greek. And we interviewed a while ago. But since he became Muslim, he has a long beard and he lives in Dubai. So he's quite different. But he put out the Harold and Maude soundtrack just last year for the 50th anniversary. And it has dialogue in it. It's a terrific LP. And the whole soundtrack was never out on CD before. So pick that up if you want to.
Yeah, go on and listen to Cat Stevens again.
They hold up. Those songs are incredible.
Oh, I know. I loved it. I think I still have, I have the actual LP of Cat Stevens, so.
That's great. And Dolly Parton, she just became our honorary executive producer on the film because she saw it and loved it so much. And she wrote a letter to Netflix on our behalf, and she's helping getting the film out there this coming year. So many people can see about Colin. She loved him.
Oh my goodness. So how many actors and actresses did you actually get to interview for this
Well,
film?
God, there must be a dozen. A couple ended on the cutting room floor. I'm so sad. But we have Lily Tomlin, we have Jane Fonda, we have Dolly, we have Charlie Durning, Dom DeLuise, Cat Stevens, we have Shirley MacLaine. My gosh, she ends the movie just incredible. I showed it to her recently, and she loved it. She was moved, and she's very feisty still. I'm sorry that Jim Neighbors we didn't finish. There wasn't room. We had Charlie Fox, who did the music on 2 of Colin films, and a lot of people we really wanted to put in, but there just wasn't time.
Yeah, I think the film, so it was Harold and Maude, and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, 9 to 5.
And Foul Play.
Foul Play.
And then he ended up doing the miniseries with Shirley on Out on a Limb from her book.
Wow.
And that was his short life. But they were all hits,
yes,
even in his short time.
But I think he said Harold and Maude. I think, was it you that said, or somebody said it, maybe it was in the film, that you were mad at Francis Ford Coppola because he ruined the...
Well, it's said by Sybil Shepherd, who wonderful part of our narrator, and also Colin's brother, Brian Higgins, because he sounds a lot like Colin is our narrator. And Sybil talks about that Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather was supposed to be a Christmas release, and they booked like 1,500 theaters or 2,500 large theaters. And it wasn't ready, so it went back to editing. And they just saw Harold and Maude, which was finished. They said, well, grab this and throw it in the theaters. And nobody, no stars, no poster, the worst poster ever made. And it just bombed because nobody knew about it in those huge theaters. So poor Colin didn't really work all that much for the next 10 years because of that.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was a rough one for him. That's why he wanted to make, pictures that really people can get in there and enjoy and have fun. But that gave him an opportunity to go to France, where Harold and Maude became a stage play. So that was amazing. It played there for 7 years in France, and it's been translated into many, many languages.
Well, when I got to see some of the films that you put in there in the craft, and some of the just insane scenes that he had, I was laughing like throughout the whole entire time watching this. It doesn't take much for me to laugh, but I will tell you, it was
That's great.
Yes.
A lot of people have told me, I want to go back and see those films again,
Yes.
and rent them, and they're on streaming, and so we hope it's a chance for Colin to share again and share his work with people. So it's going to have a good service in the world. For people.
Are you working on any other films coming up?
Well, it's interesting. They asked me that, and I was supposed to do one on Salvador Dali's Hollywood years. A lot of people don't know that he had a big career in Hollywood with Walt Disney, with Alfred Hitchcock, with the Marx Brothers, and but that kind of got pushed to the wayside in the COVID lockdown. I don't know if we can revive that. I may go on to something else, but
I think that's interesting. Now that you mentioned it, the surrealists, Dorothea Tanning, Max Ernst, and now it's Salvador Dali. They're all the surrealists during that same time. They did a lot of films that nobody really knows about. So even Dorothea Tanning did a couple of movies and films along with Max Ernst.
Oh, I didn't know that as well.
See,
yeah.
Now you got to kind of.
Well, I went to Spain to his museum, and they were very gung-ho on the project. And I went to his home, and then I have a lot of footage already, but somehow it went into a little hiatus, and I don't know if that project's going to happen or not.
All right, well, I'm counting on you to either that. Now I'm going to have to go to Spain for sure.
I'm just enjoying Celebrating Laughter around right now.
There you go. There you go. I think that could be another film in itself.
It is. Wow.
Well, if you need a laugh track, just let me know.
I could have a part 2 with all the interviews that we didn't get in. Even with the people that are interviewed, they said so many comments I wanted to have. And there's a whole section I didn't have of Harrison Ford, who used to be Colin's carpenter and started out as a carpenter and built his hot tub and his other thing, and real interesting stuff, but there just wasn't time.
Yeah. All right. Well, you need to do part 2.
Yeah, I think so.
And not take 30 years. It's got to be a little
I could do that in maybe 10.
All right. All right. Well, tell us, how could we find out about your film?
Well, it's playing the festival circuit now, and we're hoping to have a good streamer pick it up. But this year we're also going around to have a 7-day run in Los Angeles to get it on the Academy's streaming site, which is in the fall, and have members of the Academy see it, because they were his peeps, even though they're in a different era now. And so after that, we hope to get it, a good streaming service, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for Ted Sarandos at Netflix.
Awesome. And then do you have a website at all?
Oh, yes, we do. www.celebratinglaughter.com.
Awesome. And then as far as filming screening this week, you already shown the film once already?
Yes.
And it's being shown again when?
Well, I was told that if you vote for it as an audience film, I could show it again Sunday. So
okay.
It's
All
up
right.
to you.
Everybody get out and vote. It's not up to me, but if it was, I would vote.
Me either.
Well, Nicholas, thank you so much for being with us and being here in Sedona and bringing us this wonderful film. It's so nice to have you here.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you. And follow us on Sedona Film Fest 23, hashtag Sedona Film Fest 23, and hashtag SIFF23, or hashtags. And watch us live online on Facebook coming up all week and tomorrow. So we will see you again, and thank you for being with us. I'm Carol Kahn, signing out for today.